what's up YouTube? Welcome to another video by Ratchets and Wrenches, and today I'm going to do a quick video on how you can test and inspect your inner and outer tie rod ends, okay? Okay, but before we get onto the testing procedure, I want to go over quickly what causes these to go bad, okay? As you can see on this outer tie rod, there's a rubber boot. This rubber boot is for keeping grease inside here, for lubing up the ball joint. Actually, it's not specifically for the ball joint because, as you know, these ball joint and this housing are both made out of metal. Therefore, they cannot be metal on metal. Therefore, there is a material that surrounds the ball joint that's between the ball joint and this housing, which I would assume is a plastic-like material. But I don't know exactly what it's made out of. But it needs to be there, and it needs to be constantly have grease on there. So this moves freely. This ball joint can somewhat move. At the same time, it's not metal on metal and not being damaged, okay? But what happens over time is that, you know, either through normal wear and tear, or this boot, you know, gets torn, and then other dirt and debris gets in here, gets on that material and wears that out, then there is too much play. Once that thing wears out, starts wearing out, just you driving it around, and this moving around is just going to eat at that material more and more until, you know, it either breaks up or just completely worn, and then there's way too much play between the ball joint and this housing, and that's when you know you need to replace this and you have a bad inner or outer tie rod end, okay? Okay, so in order to examine your inner and outer tie rod ends, you need to raise one side at a time and support it on jack stands. Make sure you apply your emergency parking brakes and the car is in gear, okay? Okay, so what you want to do next is put your hands in the 3 and the 9 o'clock position and rock this wheel back and forth, looking for movement. Now, there's going to be some movement anyway, just because there's going to be some give in your intermediate steering shaft probably, and maybe even your rack and pinion. But the specific movement you're looking for is kind of like a popping movement. So if you feel a pop whenever you move this, then that's probably a problem with your either inner or outer tie rod ends. But if it's moving back and forth, but it's in a smooth motion, then it's probably just normal wear and tear on your steering components, okay? Okay, now there's some movement in this, but I think it's just a normal wear and tear. I don't think any of these tie rod ends are bad, but the way you could double check if you had that popping sound, popping motion, which one is bad is basically you would need to be able to look at them. Sometimes you can look at like on this car, I can see the outer tie rod end just through the wheel. Other times it would help to have a helper, someone rocking it back and forth, and you getting underneath and looking at your inner and outer tie rods, okay? Okay, here's a look at your outer tie rod end when you are underneath the car. And what you want to look for when you get someone moving the wheel back and forth is basically any give here. This is where your where the bolt that attaches to the ball joint that goes inside your outer tie rod end goes through, and these two pieces need to be tight. And if there is any give, just normal wear and tear even, they need to move in back and forth together. If there is any kind of popping or any kind of give here, that means this ball joint is bad and you need to replace your outer tie rod end. Okay, something else you can do, which is kind of an overkill, but still for people that are new, it might help them out, is to basically draw a line with a marker, preferably a white marker. You'll probably be able to see it better. But anyway, this is what I just wanted to show you how you do it. And there's usually less space than this than there is on this car. And then if you see this marker on the top part, you can easier see it move if there's a problem with your ball joint, okay? Okay, so as you saw, they both move together, and this outer tie rod end is fine, okay? Okay, next it's time to inspect this inner tie rod end. And this looks a little different than this because it's just got this dust cover on, which keeps dirt and debris out and grease in. And the best way to test this is when you have someone moving the wheel back and forth, basically just put your hand on it. And if you feel the pop, you want to make sure that your rack and pinion is not moving or is not popping, that actually there's a pop inside this joint and inside for this inner tie rod end. Okay, because if your rack and pinion could also move, because it is held in by these rack and pinion bolts that have bushings inside here, and they go bad too sometimes. So you want to make sure it's actually this piece that's popping and not your rack and pinion itself, okay? Also, generally speaking, these inner tie rod ends don't go bad as much as your outer tie rod ends, okay? Okay, so the movement you saw was pretty normal. Again, what you want to look for is that distinct popping movement. That's when you know it's bad. Again, there's going to be some give in your steering components anyway, so you want to keep that in mind. Okay, and that's how you test for a bad inner or outer tie rod ends. Now you just get this side on the ground, raise the other side and support it on jack stands, and do the same thing on that side. Okay, so yeah, I hope this video helps people out there. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more like it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.